In the United States of America, it was acknowledged that the strikes by American bombers on Iran last month did not destroy all nuclear facilities, and Iran is returning to its old ways. One of the 3 nuclear enrichment facilities in Iran that were targeted by the United States of America last month was mostly destroyed. But the other 2 were not as badly damaged and may have only been degraded. Only to the extent that nuclear enrichment could resume in the next few months if Iran chooses to do so. There are signs that Iran is once again returning to uranium enrichment for the creation of a nuclear bomb. And then a new military plan appeared on Donald Trump's desk, which would require a larger scale operation from the United States military, which will last not just one night, but several days or even weeks. We'll discuss this in detail. I'm Alexei Pechi. It's July 18th. Before we begin, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, give it a like, leave any comment you want, and be sure to subscribe to my Telegram channel, Pechi News. The link to it is in the description of this video. There we publish breaking news as it comes in. So, as reported by Segodnya, 5 current and former United States officials familiar with the intelligence assessment said that 2 out of the 3 nuclear sites attacked in Iran were not destroyed. And Iran can quickly restore them if it isn't already doing so. This assessment, which is part of the Trump administration's ongoing efforts to determine the status of Iran's nuclear program since the strike on the sites, has been shared with some United States lawmakers, Defense Department officials, and allied countries in recent days. But on the other hand, it became known that the United States military's central command in the region developed a much more comprehensive plan for a strike on Iran, which would have included hitting 3 additional sites during an operation that would have lasted several weeks. Instead of just one night, as it was in June, this strike will be carried out if there is enough evidence that Iran has gone back to its old ways. Reportedly, President Donald Trump was informed about this plan, but it was rejected for now because it contradicted his foreign policy instincts. Trump does not want to involve the United States in a major conflict right now and still believes in diplomacy. Moreover, Iran was given until the end of the summer to sign the nuclear agreement. And in his speech, just a few hours after they happened, Trump called the strikes on Iran an impressive military success and said, quote, "Iran's key enrichment facilities were completely and irreversibly destroyed." But now it turns out that this is not quite the case. The American and Israeli governments discussed whether additional strikes might be needed on the 2 less damaged facilities. If Iran does not agree to resume negotiations with the Trump administration on the nuclear deal in the near future, or if there are signs that Iran is trying to restore these sites. But Trump's team completely rejects any claims that the nuclear facilities in Iran could have survived. And in his statement, the chief Pentagon press secretary Sean Parnell said, quote, "Trust in the fake news media is similar to the current situation. Iranian nuclear facilities are destroyed in the mud, and it will take years to restore them." President Trump was clear, and the American people understand. Iran's nuclear facilities in Fordo, Isfahan, and Natanz have been completely and irreversibly destroyed. There is no doubt about that. Operation Midnight Hammer dealt a significant blow to Iran's nuclear capability. Thanks to the decisive actions of President Trump and the bravery of every man and woman in uniform who supported this mission. The United States strikes targeted 3 Iranian enrichment facilities, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. And this is where things get really interesting. American officials believe that the strikes on Fordo were successful, and Iran won't be able to do anything there for at least another 2 years. And what's interesting here is that even United States Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, spoke in detail about the strikes on Fordo, but said almost nothing about the strikes on the facilities in Natanz and Isfahan. And now American intelligence is cautiously stating that as early as 2023, there were signs that Iran was digging tunnels in Natanz that were much deeper than the place where the guided bomb unit 57 bomb could reach. There are also tunnels in Isfahan, deep underground. And so the United States struck above ground targets in Isfahan with Tomahawk missiles and did not drop guided bomb unit 57 bomb missiles there, but used them in Natanz. What the Americans are absolutely sure of is that the strikes buried the vast majority of enriched uranium in Isfahan and Fordo, and that it will be extremely difficult for the Iranians to extract it to resume enrichment. So far, the United States has not seen any signs that Iran is currently trying to dig out the buried facilities. But the Israeli government believes that at least some of the highly enriched Iranian uranium remains untouched, but buried under the facility in Isfahan. Therefore, Israel has stated that if they see Iran trying to remove this enriched uranium from there, the Israel Defense Forces will immediately carry out airstrikes on that location. That's why Washington assures that even if they haven't managed to completely destroy the nuclear facilities, the regime in Tehran is currently facing a credible threat of new airstrikes. If Israel and the United States believe that Iran is trying to revive its secret nuclear activities. And here's where it gets most interesting. It turned out that the United States has long had a plan on the table, according to which the United States of America is ready to strike 6 nuclear facilities in Iran simultaneously. The plan also includes targeting more of Iran's air defense and ballistic missile capabilities, but this would lead to a prolonged air campaign and an escalation of the war. But on the other hand, it should be understood that in the 12-day war, most of this work has already been done by Israel. But the plan remains on the table in case Iran decides to resume its nuclear program and does not engage in good faith negotiations to reach a nuclear deal with the Americans. For now, I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Bye everyone. See you. Subtitles created by